Hey guys, happy Friday. So finally, the spring season's here, which is great. I can't wait for some warmer weather and some sun. But what I've also been hearing is that this is the time for more flu outbreak and also the hay fever and heavy storms. So not really looking forward to any of those. Anyway, in the license conversion series, we finally got to the drive test, the real meat of the matter. Today's video will be a very short one. I'll just explain how the drive test goes, tips, preparations, strategies, common mistakes, my own experiences, my own mistakes, screw ups, all those would be on upcoming videos. So let's get rolling with today's video content. Just like all the earlier stages, the first step here is to book yourself in for the drive test using your customer number or license number. Now you need to know that there is usually a very long queue for this one. So make sure you book well in advance. Don't tend to scare you right at the beginning of this video, but there are a lot of test takers and then a lot of retakers for this one, which results in this long wait time. Okay, so there are two parts to the drive test, a pre-drive check and the actual on-road driving. The pre-drive check is done to ensure two things. One, the vehicle that you're going to be using for the test, is it in a good condition with all lights and controls working well? And two, do you have a basic knowledge of the controls and switches on the vehicle that you would possibly need during the test? So here, the license testing officer will stand outside the car and call out some instructions. Turn on the right indicator, the left indicator, headlights, brake lights, hazard lights, sound the horn, windscreen washer and wiper. You would also be asked to point out the handbrake, windscreen demister, rear demister. Once your vehicle and you can get through this stage, the testing officer would get into the car and you're then ready to start the test. If a brake light or an indicator light, for example, does not work, the test cannot go ahead. So it might be prudent to check all their health before the test. If you're taking the test in a driving instructor's car, then the license testing officer would sit in the rear seat, I think the rear left seat, and your instructor would sit in the front seat but cannot use the dual controls at any point to help you out. If at all this is required, a buzzer would go off, the testing officer would know, and it also means you failed the test. You can also take the test in your own vehicle as long as it meets all the criteria set by VIC roads. There should be a working handbrake that the testing officer can operate if push comes to shove. The speedometer should be visible from the passenger seat. It has all the mirrors needed, is clean, registered, and in roadworthy condition, etc. In this case, the testing officer would sit right next to you in the passenger seat, and nobody else would be allowed in the car during the test. Talking now about the on-road driving stage. There are two parts to this, stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 involves less challenging driving conditions, usually interior roads at lesser speeds. It would also include a parking maneuver. At the end of stage 1, the testing officer would calculate your scores, and this would decide if you can proceed to stage 2. If successful, you do. If during stage 1 you do anything unsafe or illegal, the drive test will end and you will be unsuccessful. Let's hope that wasn't you and you did move on to stage 2. Here, there are more challenging driving situations, usually busier traffic and speeds over 50 km. Your ability to safely execute normal driving tasks would get assessed here. Stage 1 would be about 10 minutes and stage 2 about 20 minutes to complete. By the end of this time, you would have driven back to the test center office. Once you've parked safely, the test officer would ask you to wait at the reception and go back to the desk to total your scores. If you've scored well enough, congratulations, that's success. However, if you were unsuccessful, you would be told why and a full feedback given to you. Before the test, you would need to take a few driving lessons here, be that with a driving instructor or a friend or relative. Especially if you are a Desi or a South Asian, or you come from a lawless land as far as the road culture goes. My advice would be to go with a driving instructor. There are some very good ones out there. Sure, it'll cost you a few extra dollars, but it'll be totally worth it. Another advantage of going with a driving instructor is that the pre-drive check becomes your instructor's responsibility. And you can simply focus on the driving. If you go for the test on your own car, you need to make sure that your car qualifies for the test. And trust me, you don't want to be having too many things to think about come test day. I also know of people who would use an instructor's services just for the test day. Sure, you can do that if you really want to save some money. Just to give you an idea of the enormity of the drive test and how dramatic things can get on your test day, there is a reality TV series on Channel 9 here dedicated to drive tests. It traces the path of people trying to get their licenses done. Just the fact that a mainstream television channel decided to produce a show on the topic. There is an audience, and of course, a lot of sponsors for it, and there are enough occasions on show to keep the audience interested. They all mean that the driving test will have a lot of moments and involves a roller coaster of emotions. So brace yourself for all of that. That's it for today. I will share more details on next week's video. Until then, stay safe on the roads, keep taking your driving lessons, and maybe watch the drive test series. I'll drop the link in the description. Thanks much. See you guys.